to do a Google, and before you could remove the app, then reload the app. Now it's not even letting me do that. It'll only let me disable.
Really? Well, that's interesting.
You don't even have the choice of...
Okay, what just happened?
It just glitched and said that we're now live streaming on YouTube, and all the chat went...
Yeah, I know. I just saw that. That is freaking weird. What is going on?
It's a little weird going on tonight with technology.
Holy crap.
Everybody's gone.
Yeah. No, it says for watching, but nobody's in the chat room.
Yeah, but it flashed, the Zoom changed, and it said you're now live streaming on YouTube.
Okay. I'm going to flip through here real quick and see.
Let me check it's still live.
There's not 2 lives. There's only 1 live.
There's 2. It's restarted it.
It restarted it?
Yeah, there's 2.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's restarted it. Some weird stuff. Maybe it's me. Maybe I've jinxed it.
Okay.
Well, we shall start again.
All right. Well, dang it. Okay, I don't know which one I'm supposed to be on. Okay.
Well,
I don't even see the chat room, and it's only showing me.
It's restarted. The last one has ended, and it's restarted a new live.
Okay.
So if you go to your YouTube channel, there should be one that's ended and one that's live. So I can see people in the chat. We've got Melanie, Kim, and Irex.
There we go. Okay. I found the one that now I see people in it. Okay.
I've never seen it do that before.
That is freaking weird. And then Kim said that we lost you for a minute.
Yeah, it like glitched out, and then
and then the chat disappeared. Everything. Iowa says Draco attacks.
Who's Draco? He keeps saying this.
He's either talking about Dracula, or he's talking about not Dracula, but they call them Dracos. It's the reptiles.
Oh, you see, I'm not up on all this reptilian stuff. You forgive me if I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, they call them the reptilians. They, the ones that are supposed to be ruling the world are the Dracos.
Well, we shall start again.
Iowa says ASC is transmitting RAHU right now. RAHU right now. What is that?
I think he means ascendant or something is transiting Rahu right now.
What does that
mean?
That
actually means, I don't know, because I'm not a Vedic astrologer. I'm still...
Okay, Iowa, explain what you're talking about.
You've got to explain that in layman's terms, like for us, like mere mortals. Hi, Suzanne.
Hi, Suzanne.
I got a lovely Christmas present today from our landlord. He sends us love letters. I said to Lewis, we've had a love letter from the landlord, but I'm trying to put a positive spin on it. And he says, oh, what was it? I said, our rent goes up in January. It says, it's the first time since 2012. Well, we've not been here since 2012, but it's not a lot. It's only like a very, very small amount. And he was like, oh, that's okay.
He says, when I guess he's answering our question, what is it? He says it's transiting Rahu right now and sunrise. Yeah, sunrise on crazy.
Which that still means nothing to me.
I don't understand what that means either.
Hi, Suzanne. Yeah, it's an interesting end to the year because, when you just think you've had, and so this is in line with energy vampires, when you just think, right, nothing could get any worse. Like, I think I've had, I don't know what it is about December, but I don't know about you, but I'm noticing so many deaths this month. And normally was it in the year 9 when there's a lot of celebrities died and it seemed to be one after the other, and it really stood out to me. But this month, I've noticed personally on my friends list, like my son was at work, so he didn't go, but a boy I went to school with, it was his funeral today. And it's my hairdresser's mum's funeral. I don't want to be all gloomy on Lewis's birthday on the 19th. And then I find out my mum's got lung cancer. You just think, like, what the WTF? Like, I don't normally like notice it, but it's really standing out to me this month. And a lot of people losing their mum, but is that just standing out to me? And that's before I knew. But since I found out, it has affected me like energetically. So is that sort of like an energy drain?
I guess when it all comes down to it, it's hold on one second. I'm doing something. Let me see if I can. Okay, good. Because I don't want to have to reach for my for the keyboard. So okay. So I went to grab my phone so I could watch the chat room this way.
Yeah.
It's just easier than to have to sit there and flip back and forth between screens and everything. So let me expand the screen. And
it lit a fire under you, Trisha, in my observation. Do you think so? I am like, personally, I don't know anyone else, but 2019, I'm like, I got like this last year that I'm like, right, I'm ready for 2019 already. Like, let's just, obviously, I'm looking forward to Christmas, despite all the stuff that's going on, because we've got like 7 people coming for dinner this year, which will be really nice. And it'll be multicultural. But that's it, I'm ready for 2019 apart from that. Like, let's just.
Well, I think what he's saying is, lighting a fire underneath you is kind of, I kind of observed that as well. You've been a lot more active. A lot more active. You're a lot more active on Facebook than you normally are. And you're a lot more, and you're always active on YouTube, but I mean, you've really been really proactive. I mean, to me, it looks, from my appearance, it looks like you're always busy. And
oh yeah, but I've been doing a lot of inner work because I had hit a bit of I'll be honest with anybody, like all the stuff that's gone on, and like all like stuff that's like this year, like the negativity on YouTube, the people that have, and a lot of people have, so I'm not talking about just myself, a lot of people, especially YouTubers, have had people attacking them, trying to bring them down. Like when you're shining, they're trying to like all the gossip, all the this and then that. And I got drawn, it really got me down, and I would never give up what I'm doing, but it really made me feel like question everything, questioning who I'm surrounding myself with. And it sort of put a dampener on the whole. I came to YouTube really positive and really like 12 months ago, really optimistic, really positive, really fired up. And then within a couple of months, all these negative people were like sort of like zoning in, after at first loving me, and then all of a sudden they're like hating on me. And it took its toll, I'll be honest. Like, I'm human. But I've been doing a lot of inner work. I've been working on myself, which I always bang, I won't practice. You practice what you preach. And if you're saying to people, do the inner work, you need to be doing it yourself, so I'm doing a lot of inner work. And I think that is now reflecting in the content I'm putting out. And this is just the beginning. I'm going to a year of new beginnings next year, and I'm really like, maybe this inner work it must be working, because I used to be very active on Facebook, but I switched it all over to YouTube. And I think that's where I've gone too far one way instead of. But to build your YouTube up, you've really got to be like anything. If you're going to focus on something, you have to put all your energy into it. You can't scatter your energies all over and be really successful. But I think now it's time to do Facebook and YouTube, because I think I'd shut the door on Facebook, which was a bit,
Well, I'll tell you, one of the things that I had heard from most of the people that I know is that they dropped Facebook and went straight to YouTube because they said that YouTube was bringing them more clients and stuff like
Yeah,
that. And
I'll be honest.
I basically backed off of Facebook a lot for that reason, because I was like, I have been putting a lot of energy into Facebook and not a whole lot has resulted from it. And so most of my clients have been through referrals or local advertising that I do here. And so I was like, well, but then I decided, because people, like, I did a couple of lives and people were like, oh my God, we miss you so much. I wish you come back to Facebook. And so and then as I just started just posting things like little blogs and stuff like that, and, like supportive stuff, like, hey, you can do this, and, that kind of stuff. And here's some people that I know that are really empowering, or whatever it was that I was doing. I mean, I started getting like all kinds of calls and all kinds of messages, and it really kind of blew my mind. I was like,
I've had the same with Facebook. When I went live last night, we couldn't sadly get anyone on camera, but we did some mini readings in the end, and everyone was like, I've missed you. I had more views and more interaction on Facebook last night after having a break than I get on YouTube. I got a similar amount of figures. Like, there's about 6,000 on Facebook, but not everybody on Facebook's going to be watching you when you got 6,000, and it's not, oh, I'm better than anyone else. There's people with a lot more followers or connections. But I was so surprised how many people just jumped on and wanted to interact. And I realized I really enjoyed it, and I've missed it. But it's just really annoying me why I can't get people on camera.
Well, so getting on to the whole energy vampire thing and staying on subject, like what you're talking about. I actually was having a conversation with my clients today, and he said to me, he goes, Michelle, he goes, and this kind of goes back to something we were talking about before, and I'm guilty of this as well. But he said, all this conspiracy theory stuff and all this stuff, he goes, it's lowering my vibration. And he goes, and it's bringing me down. He goes, and he said that, he goes, it draws you in. He goes, but it's feeding negativity so much. And then he goes, then I feel like so drained. So it's like, it's a different type of vampirism, because it's,
it's still vampirism. I 100% agree. I cannot watch. There's not many people I can watch on YouTube, I'll be honest. Like, because it's like fear porn. It's like the world's coming to an end, and all this Nibiru stuff. I'm not an expert on it. We're going to get hit by this. You need to stock up with 6 months of food. I tell you what, I don't get drawn in like some people do, but I've seen people say on some live streams, I'm ready to end my life. And I'm like, what is going on? Like, what is wrong with people? And I've really had to stop watching virtually 90% of channels that I did watch, because none of them were positive. It was all about the end of the world is coming. The event keeps changing. Like, how many different events have we had?
So there's two people react to tragedy. They're what you would call fight or flight, type people. And so you're going to have one or two reactions. And I've always been a fight, and some people are flight. Okay. So when I get into
freeze, like I sometimes freeze, I'll be honest.
Yeah, you're like, it depends on the situation.
Yeah, I agree.
But in general, I'm usually like, automatically I jump in and try to save the day. I get in there and I'm like, holy crap, like one time we were at the beach, and in the middle of the night, the water came up and it started flooding our tents and everybody else's tents, because we had a whole bunch of people there, and it just like started flooding everything, and everything was floating. And so I jumped up real quick, and I literally like went into fight. So, I mean, I was jumping up, I was moving things, I was putting it in the car, I was helping other people, I was helping them take their tents down, helping them load up the cars, and, that kind of stuff. And some people like go into flight where they freak out and they, like, oh my God, and they're like, we have to leave now, and they just want to get in their car and they don't care, they'll leave everything and go. And it's so understanding that, and understanding when a person presents fear porn, like you're talking about, people are going to respond that way. That's fight or flight. And so what they're going to do is they're going to either feel worthless and, and say, what's the use? I want to commit suicide. World's coming to an end anyway. We're going to be invaded by aliens, or, AI is going to take over. AI is the devil. God, I'm trying to think of all the things that I've heard.
But all that stuff that I've heard, I sat there thinking, wow, like I'm starting to feel like there is no outside world, like, than all this stuff. So these people are really drawn in and really believe it. I'm like, do they have a life? Like, well, I'm being serious.
Here's the thing. Okay, so because I'm fight instead of flight, I've noticed my reaction has been slightly different. Like, I kind of got drawn into it too. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, there's parts of it I think could be true, but it's really irrelevant. It's really irrelevant because what it ended up doing for me was say to Michelle, if this is true, I went into that kind of feeling like, what would you do if you only had a week left to live? What would you do if you knew you had 6 months to live? Like that kind of thing. Like, that I would go, climb a mountain. I'd tell everybody I loved them. And that's kind of what it ended up doing to me is, and so I guess there was a slight bit of positivity, but not to everybody else, It's like with me, I mean, I just like really pushed hard on my dreams, the things that I was kind of delaying, taking some courses that I wanted to take, writing the book that I wanted to write, pushing for online classes, going national, doing the things that I said, starting my seminars and doing a lot of classes locally and eventually internationally, all the things that I kept on saying, oh, I need this, or, I just decided, what, fuck it, I'm doing it. I mean, I put all this stuff together and like laid out a whole format of things that I've got for next year. I've already got it on my website, and I'm starting to work on some online classes that I'm going to be doing as well. That's going to kind of follow that whole format. And so what it did for me was push me into fights. Like, it's like, well, shit, if we're going to be invaded by aliens, if AI is the devil, if Planet X is going to fall on us, I mean, all the things that I've heard, okay, that, if there's going to be a nuclear war, or if we're going to have World War III, I mean, all these things, if any of this stuff is true, then
you've got
I'm like, my attitude was kind of like, if any of this stuff's true, we may not have much time. So I want to live my dreams. And so it kind of pushed me in that direction. But most people, it doesn't do that. Most people, what it does is it scares the living shit out of them. And then they go hide in a room and they don't want to, they go, well, why should I go for my dreams? Why should I go back to school? Why should I push for that thing that I really wanted? I'm going to be dead in a week, a month, a year.
Well, we could be right. Okay, let me put this in perspective. Any of us could get knocked over by a bus tomorrow. We could die tomorrow. Nothing is guaranteed. The end of the world may never come, and life is not guaranteed. Okay, like today, a boy my son went to school with who's 20 has been buried. Like, the world may never end, but his life has ended. Like, okay. When I was in the military, and this really and I've talked about this before, and it makes me really cross. This is where it probably drains me, because I do get fired up about this. I was in the military, as a lot of you know, and like all this about Saddam Hussein, he's got all his chemical weapons, and basically, even being in the military, I thought, we're screwed. If he drops this on us, we've got gas masks, we've got all the protection. My family's screwed. And I don't think what we had would protect us that much anyway. And why would you want to live if everybody else was wiped out? And then eventually they say, oh, we didn't have any. And that was the moment when I thought, I am never believing anything they pump out on the news again, because it's the same with mad cow's disease. They put us in fear in the UK. I don't know about in America, like we're all going to get mad cow's disease. I didn't even eat meat. I didn't even eat beef since I was 12. Yet I was petrified I was going to get mad cow's disease. because it scares you. And then it all died down. I'm like, you don't hear about that anymore.
So yeah, I'm so glad that we're actually talking about this, because energy vampires are not just people.
No, they're not.
That you're running into this one person that drains your energy, sucks the life out of you. You can't stand being around them. They take. Energy vampires can be the news. It can be YouTube. It can be, your favorite local broadcaster, and it's anything that's sucking the life out of you, that's making you feel drained or, lifeless.
Like Shannon says, if you believe it will affect you. Well, I was in the military. You think I would know one way or the other, like either this is true or this is not true. I believed it, like probably most people. And then when I found out that supposedly he didn't have any, I used this as an excuse. I'm like, I've never believed in any of it unless it happens on the day and we are wiped out. There's nothing we can do about it. No much preparing is gonna save you. Like, say God forbid, like the world's gonna come to an end, or loads of people are gonna get wiped out, and you're preparing for 6 months of food. Do you really want to live in a world where it's just you?
Well, it's interesting that you said that, because I was talking to Travis about this one day, and he said, that he's a prepper, and I said, well, I've kind of thought about like storing some food, here and there, and kind of have and he's like, no, I'm not talking about that. He goes, you need guns, you need this, you need that, and he's like totally a whole different direction. And he's like, he goes, people will come in and they're going to steal. He goes, if you don't have any guns, people are going to steal your food. So it's not going to really do you any good. And, and it's just interesting that so many people like really like fall into
that belief. Mm-hmm. That doesn't even enter most people's heads where I live. I'll be honest with you. Most people are just getting on with their lives. Mm-hmm. And most people a lot of people I follow away from YouTube are building their lives. They're building their dreams. They're not sat there thinking about the world's coming to an end. And guess who's happier? Those that are building their dreams, not the ones that are in fear that the world's coming to an end. Trust me.
I've decided that whether it's true or not, I always tend to take a more agnostic approach to everything, because there's no way it could be that all of this is true, and then it could be that none of it's true. And so my attitude is I'm just going to go on with my life, and I'm going to do everything that I can to be happy, and I'm going to push for my dreams, and I'm going to succeed, and I'm going to be everything that I've set out to do. Everything that I want to do, I'm going to do. And
because, like you say, no life's guaranteed. Like, could be the end for some of us tomorrow, God forbid.
Right.
Or you could live another 50 years, like, and you can live 50 years in fear. Like,
well, maybe all of this stuff is true. However, it doesn't happen for 100 years.
Exactly. Okay. And you've ruined your life for something that will not happen in your lifetime.
Exactly. So why let all these people out there, these energy vampires?
I think you're right. These people that are putting fear porn are actually energy vampires.
That's the way I see it, because it was happening to me. And then my client comes in today and he's like, dude, Michelle, he goes, I can't take this anymore. He goes, I feel like my vibration is dropping. And it was such an interesting transition, because it started off with people channeling aliens, and then somehow or another they started getting into these ancient scriptures, and then ancient scriptures went into something else, and then I don't know, blah 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 blah. Next thing you know, Planet X is going to hit, this big AI consciousness is the devil, and it's that's the beast. And I don't know, I've just heard so many different things. We're going to have a fake war, and they're trying to deplete the lower the population of, because the world's getting too populated. Okay, they may do all these things. Okay. But how is it affecting you?
Yeah. I've noticed too many people are not even living in reality anymore. Well, certainly on YouTube.
I was actually listening to somebody the other day who puts out some pretty good stuff. And but he was talking about the fact that some of this stuff scares the living shit out of him. And he says, I just sit in here and do my videos. I don't even leave. He goes, because I sometimes say to myself, you know, what's the purpose? And I mean, and that really upset me because I was thinking, wow, you know, that's really sad. That's really sad because, I mean, I don't know, you know, and it's like, I personally, all it's done is made my relationship with Shane stronger because it's like, I'm not even going to think about anything negative about you. I'm just going to love you. And, you know, and that's it. And, you know, because I don't know if I'm going to lose you tomorrow. And so, and that's kind of the approach I've taken it. And I want to live my life and I want you to live your life to the fullest. I want you to meet every single dream you have. And let me help you. I'm going to help you meet those dreams. And
no day, like, that's what they say. Like, when you're feeling niggly about someone, just think, like, what if they were gone tomorrow? And I'm not saying put up with bad or abusive behavior. That's a different kettle of fish. But say if you're just getting niggly with somebody because they're not doing what you, they're not doing what you want them to do. Well, I remind myself.
I love your words.
Niggly, yeah. Like, what if my son wasn't here tomorrow? Would this really matter? Yeah, if someone's been abusive, that's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah, there's a difference between somebody who's doing drugs and alcohol and beating you up and somebody that's just getting niggly.
Or you're just trying to control them because they're not doing what you want to do and you're being
oh my God, yes. And so many relationships, people fight all the time. And some people even say, oh my God, he's so controlling or he's abusive. And it's not that they're abusive. It's just that both of you are really abusive. And it's a toxic relationship because I want to be right and I want to be right, you know? And you just start fighting and because one person's not meeting the other person's needs, they get angry and they start getting mean and they start treating each other badly and they're just not understanding.
But if you think, God, what if I never saw this person ever again? Like, is it worth fighting over something because you're trying to control them? Like, it's not. And it's funny about conspiracy theories because Lewis will say to me, like, he thinks I have all these conspiracy theory friends and I don't, but like some of them are open to it. And he's like, well, these conspiracy theories is like not doing anybody any good. And when your 20-year-old son is like telling you that, it just makes me smile because I'm not into all that. Like I'll listen to things, but if it doesn't feel right, I won't.
I'd rather watch Netflix or rent a movie. And
I'd rather learn something or read a book or like do something to prove my life than listen to fear porn.
Well, I agree with you. I spend all of my alone time either working on my business or improving my knowledge. But my time that I would have with Shane, I try to make it quality time. So we're, you know, sometimes we'll, you know, like we get excited about silly movies, you know, like sci-fi is our favorite. So I'm really excited about seeing Aquaman, by the way.
Me too.
Like,
absolutely.
He's so hot. He is so hot. Oh my God, he's so hot.
Yes. And he's a really nice guy in real life.
Yes. And
There's not many celebrities that I actually fancy, but he is definitely probably up there with.
Shane and I are both excited about that. And he's like, if this movie is as good as the advertisements, I'm going to be so excited. and I'm like, oh, dude, I'm with you.
I'm with you.
This guy's so hot, you know. And it's so funny because we talk to each other like this because, like, when Wonder Woman came out, he was watching that and he said, I am so excited about this movie because everybody said that the Wonder Woman is so hot. And he was like going on and on. And so when it came on, I was like, oh my God, she really is pretty. And he goes, yeah, oh my God, she's everything everybody said. And so of course, you know, I'm doing the same thing with Aquaman. So
I posted that. My cousin tagged her daughter in it and said, I wonder if Xenia wants to come and see Aquaman with me. I'm like,
yeah, I'm super excited about
we've
that.
got a cinema just across the road. So, yeah.
So Aquaman is about to, I think it's going to be coming out on Amazon Prime or Amazon fairly shortly, I think. And so, yeah, so I'm super excited because we're going to rent it and curl up in the bed and watch it. So I'm super, super happy about that.
IRX, the new Wonder Woman is a dude, lol.
Crazy.
But anyway, yeah, energy vampires, like, that's just a huge subject.
So I know it's such a big subject to talk about, and we kind of like started tapping on it at the very end of our show last week, and we said, you know what? Instead of going on and just kind of shifting subjects here, we need to just go ahead and do a show on it. Do you remember like what we were talking about that kind of led into that?
No.
No.
Only because since that live, what I found out the next day just totally knocked me off track. It almost like, actually, this is going to sound awful. It felt like my energy had been completely sucked and all I could focus on was on one thing. And it's sort of like this whole week has felt like a month, to be honest. So I'll be honest, I can't remember what triggered us to get onto that subject.
I don't remember either. Oh, well.
But
we could I could share a screen and we can watch the replay.
I can't remember what we got onto that, but
I don't know, but we got on a rampage about something and we were talking about energy vampires. But I know that last week I had done a thing on, when on Facebook, a video, and I was talking about how, when you're giving and giving and giving and giving to people and they can't even show up for themselves. And I was talking about, I think that was something that kind of triggered this conversation is the inability to show up for themselves, because nobody's going to show up for you if they can't show up for themselves.
Yeah.
So, and the reason for that is kind of going into the glass, if I show up for myself, I'm going to be full. Okay. But if I'm like down here and I'm not showing up for myself and I'm drawing from other people, that energy that I get from somebody else is not going to be as strong or as long lasting as the energy that I get if I show up for myself. Okay. So it's kind of like having a really weak battery versus a really strong battery. If I have a really big, powerful battery that's, I think it's called MAH. Is the how they range how strong a battery is, and so like something can be like 250 versus 1100 or something like that. Now that's like small batteries, but the longevity of it fills up the same size, okay, of energy. So I can fill this up with drawing from somebody else. So I can go to you and I can say, I'm weak, I need this, and I draw from you and fill it up, but it's gonna deplete really, really fast.
You gotta keep filling the cup up.
And so I'm constantly reaching out and drawing from you. Okay. Now, if so you come to me and you're like, okay, it's my turn. I need something. Well, I've already depleted it because that energy you gave me just went away like that. And so I have nothing to give you. The reason I can't do that is because I don't ever show up for myself. So the energy that happens when I show up for myself is long lasting. So if I'm filling myself up, because it's about self-worth.
Well, like Shannon said, you must keep recharging yourself daily. Yeah, but not, which I agree, but not from other people. Like if I kept going to Michelle every day and she kept boosting me and I'm moaning and I'm complaining, eventually she's going to get drained and fed up. Like if it really, I hook into her. And this is what people do. They'll moan, they'll complain, they'll bitch, but they'll never do anything and these people don't do anything. I see it on Facebook. Quite a few people I've noticed, even 2 years ago, they're still complaining about the same things on Facebook. And I've started to put people on snooze for 30 days or just delete them. Because I'm like,
and you're absolutely right. Those kind of people are not showing up for themselves, and I think that I'm using that terminology, show up for themselves, because people have been using the terminology of recharging yourself or loving yourself or working on yourself, you know, that kind of stuff, taking care of yourself. And they use that terminology. And so what ends up happening is that I'm seeing is that people don't know what that means. So they go and they get their nails done, or they go get a massage, or they go get their hair done, and they say, you know, I feel really good. Mm-hmm. And those are good things. Okay. Mm-hmm. But is it long lasting? Okay. What's going to be long lasting is if you do something that makes your self-esteem feel good. You do something to give you more self-worth, to make you feel like you're empowered as a female or as a male. And most of our audience is mostly female. So we're,
it could be exercise that for some people.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Exercise could be it. It's or experience or taking a course or learning something. I mean, I'm so big about that. And because and sometimes things don't always, some people are like, well, I don't have the money. I'm going to tell you something. When somebody tells me that they don't have the money for something, the first thing I say to myself inside my head is they put more value on other things than they do on themselves. Because I'm going to tell you something, before I got into this industry, all the courses that I took, oh my God, I could probably pay for my daughter to go to college 5 times. I mean, how much money I have spent on all this stuff. I mean, it's $3,000 here, $5,000 here, $10,000 here. Now, of course, I didn't just dump that money all at once. You know, what I had to do was I made a decision to do something, and I told the universe, I need this. And when I was taking a class, maybe I took a class at a time, or I made monthly payments, or, you know, but here's what I actually did. Honest to God, is I worked 2 extra part-time jobs and to pay for the classes that I was taking. And
really successful people invest in themselves.
Do you know that Wayne Dyer, when he was putting himself through his PhD, he was delivering pizzas to his students. Okay.
Well, I didn't know that.
This is crazy. Yeah. I actually saw him live in Austin a few years ago before he died. And he was talking about this, where he was a college professor because he had a master's degree, and he was putting himself through school to get his PhD, to get his doctorates. And so to help pay for his education, he actually was delivering pizzas to his students.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's what I told Shane when he was going through the transition. Oh, I don't have money, blah, blah, blah. And I go, I don't want to ever hear you tell me you don't have money, because you can freaking go be a greeter at Walmart. Okay? And there's always something that you can do to pay for this education. And, you know, I had a long conversation with my sister and about this, because she was like, I just don't have the money to do this, or I can't put myself through this, or I can't do this. And I'm like, I said, look, Jenny, I said, when I was putting myself through school, I had my full-time job that paid me, you know, to maintain my lifestyle. And then I worked 2 part-time jobs on the side to pay for my education. And so I, you know, and before that, when I was putting myself to school to go into marketing. So before I got into this, because I've gone to school like multiple times. And so when I got married, I didn't have a degree. And so I decided I wanted to go back to school. I had a child. Okay. I had a child and I was going to school. So there's people say, oh, well, I have a baby and I have a kid and all this sort of stuff. I'm like,
I was pregnant when I was redoing my English and going on courses with Lewis. Mm-hmm. Like, if you really want it, like for me, when I went in the military, I got the best education and I was getting paid to be educated. But yes, I signed my life away. So it's not like, yes, it had its...
It doesn't matter. It's like there's sacrifices you have to make for everything.
And
And
that's the sacrifice. I signed my life away, but I was getting educated and getting paid for it. But then when I left or was leaving, and you get these courses that you go on, I was heavily pregnant and I was redoing my English. I built a computer, not heavily pregnant. I was about 4 or 5 months pregnant at the time. I was throwing up in the toilet before I went to the course because I had morning sickness. But like at the end of it, I got a free computer and I learned about computers. Like, I'm not saying do something because it's not healthy. I really wanted to do it and it was free. And I got a free computer.
And that's the other thing is that some of the stuff that the things that I've learned have been free, but it's continuous knowledge. Like, I'm going to tell you something every day. I'm on a Napoleon Hill kick right now. So,
I love Napoleon Hill stuff.
Yeah. So every day when I'm driving to work, I'm listening to an audiobook of his, and some of which I've already read. And I'm like, and it was years ago. And it's like I'm hearing it for the first time because I'm actually able to really hear it. And I'm actually grasping it and like holding on to it and like really like, whoa, I mean, like things that I don't know how it just kind of slid over me and didn't stick. Maybe I just wasn't ready at the time. But
yeah.
But I mean, that's education.
He was way advanced of his time. Like what he was writing decades and decades ago is relevant for now. And I'll tell you another good one, which you may have heard of, is Zig Ziglar.
Oh, yeah.
He was a life path 8, the same as you.
Really?
Do you know where I first heard of Zig Ziglar?
Where? From Tony Robbins?
No. A documentary in the UK of a double glazing salesman. He had his own company, this really quirky guy, and he was obsessed with Zig Ziglar. And I was like, who the hell's Zig Ziglar? And it made me look into who he was. And this guy he was this wacky guy that everyone thought was crazy, but he had a really successful double glazing company, windows.
Oh, wow.
And he was obsessed with Zig Ziglar. And that's where I first heard of him.
That's interesting. Well, but that's education. Okay. And that's, I mean, me listening to, to Napoleon Hill or Zig Ziglar or whatever every morning, that's education. You taking the, that course that you're going to be taking this year to learn EFT.
I'm doing an EFT. I'm started it already. This is the second week. It's an EFT, for abundance and financial abundance and clearing the blocks because let's put it, I don't want to be, a broke, like healer, like, I think we.
Oh my God, I'm so proud of you. I mean, that's exactly right. And that's the thing, Trisha, that's
I've
awesome.
invested in that, but
Absolutely.
thank God.
But see, you are, I mean, everything that you're doing, Trisha, is all the healing you're doing and all the classes that you're taking and all this other stuff is you are investing in yourself. You're what was the terminology I used? There for yourself, or I forgot now.
But anybody that's listening, like, it wasn't until I went through crisis that I started to do all this stuff. I mean, I probably started waking up when Lewis was a baby, but when I really started reading those books, Zig Ziglar, Napoleon Hill, was probably 2008. Was when I found a lot of these people. And Nightingale Conan, starting to listen to their stuff, like the Ho'oponopono, the Joe Vitale thing. I found all them in about the year 2008.
I only heard of Joe Vitale, but I can't even say it right.
Vitale.
I actually saw him in person. He was at the You Can Do It seminar that Wayne Dyer did in Austin, Texas, that I went
Wayne Dyer is another one.
Yeah.
All 2008 was when I found these people.
And I think, I'm trying to think of when it was. It might have been around, it's like about 8 years ago, something like that. So when he did that seminar and Joe Vitale was there, and readjusting myself here. So he was there, and that was the first time that I had ever heard of him. And he's really cool. I really enjoyed him. He was really interesting to listen to. And he's actually gotten kind of popular recently. mean, he kind of like was real popular for a while, and then he kind
and then he sort of went a bit quiet on him, but like
all of a sudden he's kind of like been the new thing lately. But getting back to
it's really difficult.
That was really nice of Shannon. She said, "You're really helping me, Trisha. You're proactive," and that was from Shannon.
Thank you, Shannon. Yeah, that is one thing I've always been, is proactive. I think, like, I won't stay stuck forever. Like, yeah, I'll have my moments. It depends what it is. It might be a relationship breakup. You won't see me stay down for long. Like, it depends who and what it is. If I have a relationship breakdown, yeah, I might have, but I'm not saying I'll be back out there meeting new people, but I won't stay stuck. I've never been like that, actually.
You know, that's such a great quality. And that's the thing, is like, when you guys run into, let's say that you run into a person who's an energy vampire and they're pulling from you, you know, if you do not constantly fill yourself up by taking care of it, by showing up for yourself, by taking care of yourself, by giving yourself something that gives you self-worth. Okay. And I'm not talking about affirmations, you guys. I mean, come on, seriously. If you sit there and you're like, I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy. I mean, like, do you really believe me? Like, you have to do things that actually makes you feel happy. And you have to, I mean, like, I feel so much self-worth and so much, I feel so empowered. And this wasn't a feeling I was used to having for a very long time. I mean, there was a point in my life where I didn't feel any of those feelings. Okay. And the reason I didn't feel it is because I expected other people to make me feel better. And when I started doing things for myself, and I started empowering myself by making myself more intelligent, and and most of my intelligence did not come from formal education.
Same here.
Okay.
I've learned more from leaving school than after.
I can tell you right now, I went back to school when I was married, and I got a associate's degree in graphic arts. And then after that, I went back and got finished up my marketing degree. But I'm going to tell you something. I didn't feel very smart. In fact, I felt really stupid because it was really hard on me. It was really, really tough. I mean, I was struggling because I waited later in life to go back to school. But
you don't have to have degrees to it. You know, like,
I didn't feel smart. That didn't help my self-worth at all. What helped my self-worth is when I really got smart. I mean, when I really got smart, and I started learning things that were helpful to me and to other people. And that did not come from formal education. I mean, I know a lot of people who have degrees and they're stupid as shit. You know?
Or they've got no job. I know people that have got degrees and have never worked. Like, what was the point in that? Like,
do you know, I know somebody that is an attorney who went to a university, kind of like Harvard or Yale. It was one of those two. I don't remember which one it was. And that's where she went to law school. Okay. And listen to this. The girl doesn't have enough self-worth to find a job as an attorney. She went and worked as a receptionist at an attorney's office because she didn't feel secure enough about her worth. And then she got fired because she was arguing with an attorney because she's so smart. And the attorney's like, you're not an attorney, so shut the fuck up. And she was an attorney, but it wasn't her position at the firm.
Yeah.
And then now she's working as a prostitute.
Self-belief will get you further than actual talent.
Right. And so, like, this is a person. And so then another person that I know that is an attorney, he has never practiced as an attorney ever in his entire life. Okay. He went and got a degree just because he thought, I'm really big on education. I want to learn. Went and got a degree and never did anything with it because he owned a business at the time. And it was like a staffing company. And so he never did anything with it. And we're talking like maybe 8 or 10 years later, he kept his license up and they ended up closing the business down. And he was like, okay, what do I do now? And he thought about it and he's like, well, I'm an attorney. I'll go practice law. And he went and got a job just like that. It took him about 3 months to find a job as an attorney. And now he's practicing attorney. Why did this girl who went to Harvard University, she couldn't even...
Because she didn't have the self-belief and the confidence.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
You know, when I went through a divorce, I had to get a barrister at one point because of the nature of the situation. And it came out better than she predicted because I persisted. And I'm like, I wish I'd gone to law school now and become a barrister, because I did something that she didn't think would happen. Go figure. And I looked there and I thought, I'm paying you £500 an hour, which for you to turn around and say you did better than I thought you would out of this. I was like, I just thought that's crazy. And then I wished I'd become
and so this kind of goes back to you know, the type of education you need, or the type of courses you need, or the type of knowledge that you need is whatever is going to build your own personal self-worth. So what built my self-worth was understanding how the brain works and actually becoming really quite intelligent about very specific things that most people don't know anything about. And so that made me feel smart. And so and the more I learned, and I have so much knowledge, it's just mind blowing when it comes to that kind of stuff. And don't
you think self-worth though has come from just loving yourself and feeling secure in yourself?
Okay, let's talk about that for a second. How do you love something you don't like?
Well, that's where you've got to learn to love something. You got to learn to love yourself.
How do you learn to love something you don't like, though, Trisha? Okay. So, yeah, exactly. That's my whole point. So you can't love to learn something that you don't like. You've got to change who you are. And you've got to create the person that you want to be so that you can love it.
I agree. But sometimes we've been programmed as children to not feel good enough when we are good enough.
Well, we're good enough regardless if we don't have any education, regardless if we're living, you know, in a mansion or in a small house or a tiny
house. We are all good enough regardless of our circumstances, but we were programmed, whatever our childhood, depending on our parents, is, you know, if you had parents that expected a lot from you, you can soon feel not good enough.
Yeah, but not good enough for what? Not good enough to have a nice house, not good enough to have a rich husband, not good enough to
it depends.
Job over here. I mean, it really all boils down to the fact that we've got to have self-esteem, and self-esteem comes from feeling confidence, and confidence comes from doing something enough times to feel good about it. And so you've got to create the person.
Yeah. But say different second life. For example, I don't know about your childhood, but I always felt inadequate because I was not a grammar school student. In the UK, we have grammar schools still. Just right. My mother was a grammar school student, and I always felt inadequate because I never got to grammar school. I don't now, but I did at the time. Because guess what? I was brought up to feel like you've made it when you've got to grammar school. You know, the cream of the crop at the time got to grammar school, and I always felt educationally inferior. I felt stupid. I felt thick because that's how I was brought up.
So mine was very similar. And I've talked about this before, but I have a rare form of dyslexia, and my dyslexia is where I actually transpose words. Instead of most dyslexia, they just flip a letter and or a number. Mine actually transposes. Like when I was, for instance, and I ended up realizing it transposes a lot of stuff. Like when I was taking algebra, like college algebra, and ended up realizing that I was doing the problem right, but I was adding or subtracting wrong. Like when I was.
What do you mean by transposing words?
So I would see like with algebra, I would see a minus sign instead of a plus sign, or a plus sign instead of a minus sign. In transposing words, I would see the instead of that. Or it's like my mind interprets the words differently of what I'm seeing. And so when I was growing up, those kind of conditions didn't exist. And you didn't, there was dyslexia didn't exist, and all kinds of stuff. I mean, you just didn't get tested for that stuff. So like you were either retarded or you were normal.
Dyslexia is heavy down my father's side of the family, like not my mother, but they're all grammar school students, and I've got the father's side of the family that are highly dyslexic.
And I had to, when I went back to school, and I remember sitting with my professor, and I was like, I know this stuff. I mean, I'm really good at math. I don't understand. And she says, well, I was looking at it, and if you would have added instead of subtracted, like everything you did is right. Like all your numbers are adding up right. It's just that you dropped your, you did a subtract markers, get a pink one and a green one. She goes, you don't have any problems with colors, do you? And I said, no. And she goes, instead of, wherever it's supposed to be a plus or something, you always,
yeah.
So, yeah. So, and then I had to reteach myself how to read, because when I graduated from high school, couldn't read very well, if at all. And believe it or not, I'm not really sure, because they didn't test us to graduate when I graduated. So as long as you completed the grade and you passed, and I think half the time they just didn't care. And so like today, if I would have been at that level of intelligence, I never would have graduated. But
it's not, he wasn't colorblind. The lenses it's to do with dyslexia. When they wear certain colored lenses in, because you can't go in the military colorblind, full stop. The lenses are to do with dyslexia, like different colored lenses means that the letters and words don't move about. It's not actually about being colorblind.
So my mind actually sees something different than what's there. And I started to figure it out because I would read a bulletin board and I would say, why would they post something that makes no sense? And I was like, and I would stare at it. And then I started like breaking the letters down. And then I would realize, oh, THAT, that's that. Oh, now it makes sense. And so I retaught myself how to read by, by going letter by letter. THAT, that. THEB. And I had to retrain my brain. And then I took then after that, I took a speed reading course. And so I was able to kind of like absorb it and move through it. And anyway, and I ended up like pretty much resolving the issue. Every so often it'll creep up and I do catch it, but it's nothing like it used to be. And it gets me sometimes with text messages. Like I'll think somebody said something or I think the message is from somebody else. Like, let's say Shane sends me a message and Shannon sends me a message. And so because it's SHAN, my brain will like move too fast and then I'll respond. I don't text message Shannon. I'm just saying her name as an example. So I might send her a sexy picture and go, hey, baby, like that or something like that.
That could be dangerous.
Okay? And like, and so that's kind of like sometimes that happens. And so I've gotten to a point to where I usually like label everybody's name with some sort of like comment about who they are. Like I usually say Shane husband, or like I will say I'll have a nickname for somebody. Like if somebody's a cop, I'll say George the cop or something like that.
My dad had nicknames for everybody. Like he learned to read by reading the magazine, like the Dandy or the Beano magazines, comics. Because he couldn't read and write because he left school at 14 to work. And he always had a nickname for somebody. And that's probably his way.
Exactly. And that actually helps with me not getting to like my mind, like speeding up ahead and guessing is kind of what I guess it's doing or did. But anyway, like, the whole point behind all this is that there's no excuse why you can't better yourself, because like you said, I mean, my self-worth was shit, just, and I mean, and I have every single reason to be very, very depressed right now. And I'm not.
But I think our self-worth can be reliant on our parents' perceptions of us. And if we can break away from that and heal that, but then we might be comparing. The worst thing is to compare yourself to others. Because if you compare yourself to others that might have more than what you want or have, then you're going to feel like shit. Like, I've got friends that are who do not work and their husbands are super rich. But do you know what? I'm really like happy for them, because if I compared myself to them, I would just feel so depressed. But there's no point. Depends what the person's got, what you want out of life. But if you're comparing yourself to, I think comparison is, what do they call it? It's what is it? Comparison. There's a saying about comparison. Never compare yourself to other people, because I think it's the thief of all joy or something like that.
Mm-hmm. I actually agree with that. And
it could be that they're more beautiful than you, they're younger than you. It doesn't have to be about money. It could be anything. They might be more educated than you. But what I always remember is they might appear to have all this stuff, but you don't know what's really going on behind closed doors. And when you find out their life is probably worse than yours, then you don't want to be with them.
So an interesting thing right on that note. My sister and I were having a conversation one day, and this is before I met Shane and before we got married. And I was very free-spirited, constantly on the go, always going and doing things, had a really, really exciting life. And because I was single and I could, and I would go stay with a friend for a week, or I'd go stay over here for a day or two. And I was constantly like bouncing around, doing everything. I mean, I had free time, and, and my life was, I was doing exactly what I wanted to do and spending time with everybody I wanted to spend with and doing, just whatever. But I didn't have a home, and I was driving a crappy car at the time, and my business was just starting. So financially I was kind of in like, really things were tight. And so one day I said to my sister, I said, I've always kind of had a little bit of admiration for your life. I always wish that I could have that life. And I just never had that opportunity. It's not that I disregarded or didn't honor that if it came up, or chose not to go that way. The opportunities never came up. See, she's a stay-at-home mom. She's never had to work. And ever since she's been married, she's never had to work. And she has this beautiful house with a pool and jacuzzi and brand new cars and all this stuff. And it's like she has this really cool craft room, and, she just, anything that she wants, she has, like, you can think of. And I remember saying to her, how I told her, I said, I don't want to say I'm jealous of you, because I'm not jealous. I just, that opportunity was never given to me in my life. Nobody ever said, hey, Michelle, you can stay home. I'll marry you and take care of you. And, and that never happened. And
but would you really want to be a stay-at-home mom that never works?
I would like to have had the option to say whether or not I did or didn't. And I would have loved to stay home with my kids, because I worked when my kids, and I didn't get to spend that kind of time with them because I had to work. So then she says to me, by my surprise, listen to this. She says, that's weird, because I've always been a little jealous of you. And I said, really? I go, why? And she goes, Michelle, you can drop at any drop of the hat. You can go anywhere you want. She goes, you just get in your car and you go. You don't have anybody to attend to. You don't have to worry about this kid and taking them to school or doing that or any of these demands. You don't have a crazy husband that's constantly saying, no, you can't do that. She goes,
exactly.
And she goes, I wish that I could get it. She goes, I'd give all this up in a flat second if I could have your life, be able to experience all the things you've experienced. And that woke me up. At that second, I realized, wow.
Exactly. She'd love to give that all up to have what you have, and you're wanting what and this is what I mean. People that you think have it all often don't. They can be miserable, or they feel controlled or trapped.
And the reality is kind of like what you said. Shane and I were talking about like if we ever won the lotto, and I said, well, I finally get a chance to breathe, and he goes, oh, please. And he started laughing and he goes,
I don't think
no,
you
you
would.
just take that money and you just start investing in another business. And he goes, and you'd be working and all this other stuff. And I started laughing and I was like, all right. So
I don't know.
Big meditation center with a yoga studio and all this other stuff. And he started laughing and he's like, oh yeah. He goes, and I'd have a really big PI firm with it. And I'd have a security company on the, with it and all this sort of stuff. And it was just really, really funny how we were kind of like laughing about that because, sometimes we say that we would like to have something that's different than what we have. And so we do feed on the jealousy of other people because they have it. But the reality is we wouldn't have chosen that. And even if we did get it, we wouldn't play it out the same way.
Exactly. I'm never jealous of anybody. I don't know a life path number 8 that would give up and just, even if they had loads of money. I know somebody who is a life path 8 and he sold his business and he could have retired in his 30s for life. He was that rich.
Mm.
And I thought, I knew he would never, and he created, a very, very successful business that just keeps growing and growing. But life path 8s for certain wouldn't sit and do nothing. I'm telling you now, because you'd be bored.
Yeah, I personally, you're right. That's why Shane said, ha ha ha, Michelle, this is what you would do.
You wouldn't have given up. You wouldn't have just sat with your feet up, no way, because you'd want to run a business.
I get bored too easily. I'll get stir crazy. Like when we had the hurricane and we were kind of locked in for like 2 weeks. I was so stir crazy. I was like, oh my God, But wow, tonight we're supposed to be talking about energy vampires, and we like
gone all over the shop.
Yeah, I know, all over the place.
The thing is, I feel like energy vampires, it's an easy topic to talk about, but it's been really, isn't it? Because like, what are energy vampires? They're people that drain the hell out of you, or they're not necessarily people. They could be situations. Actually, clutter in your home is an energy vampire.
Oh my God, that's so true. Do you know when I was redoing this office and moving everything around, and my husband's like, did you vacuum? And I go, yes, I vacuumed and I Windexed everything. And I did this and I did that. And I cleaned out drawers. And he's like, oh my God, I'm going to faint. And he's like,
clutter is
I'm not a cluttery person at all. It's just that I might put something in a drawer. He's like, Michelle, you're like out of sight, out of mind kind of person.
Yeah.
So everything's kind of picked up, but he's all like, everything needs to be clean inside and out kind of person. And I hate clutter and he hates uncleanliness. So that's why he was like, did you vacuum? So I like,
that's draining.
Yeah. So I vacuumed everything and I cleaned out every drawer, every cabinet, everything, hung up a bulletin board so I could do the teaching classes. I moved my computer around. I altered everything. I, moved, this, that, and the other, made it look all nice and pretty. And I walk in here and I just feel so light and I feel so good. It's like, I feel like just walking in here feeds me. I just feel calm and relaxed and like,
I challenge anybody to walk in a room that is a tip, or where you go in the kitchen and all the pots need washing. You tell me that you feel good looking at that, and I would be amazed, because I don't, go in a room that's untidy. Go in the average teenager, like I wasn't like that, thankfully, but the average teenager or teenage boy, go in his bedroom and tell yourself, if it's all cluttered and messy, see if you feel good. Go in your kitchen when it's like all the pots need washing and it's a mess. Tell me you feel good in that environment, because I would challenge anybody to tell me that they feel good in that, because I certainly wouldn't.
I think some people feel safe, but not good. Do you
feel healthy in that environment?
I absolutely agree, 100%. And I think you're right. So clutter can be an energy vampire. And so clutter can be an energy vampire. Conspiracy theories, end of the world,
Their energy vampires.
Yahweh's not God, you know, the whole 9 yards. All of these, AI is the devil. All of these things can be energy vampires. And
negative people, ungrateful people, they're energy vampires to me.
And then my personal one that I feel is people that do not show up for themselves. Those are people that will drain you the most. And it's so like, and that's why I preach it so much, to educate yourself in whatever form that you can. I had somebody on Facebook say, I wish that I had somebody that could help me with this, or I wish this, or wish that. And I'm like, and so I said, what do you need? Tell me, let me help you. And let's figure this out. And he's like, I really want to take your course, but I can't afford it right now. And I'm like sitting here going, you know what? You're feeling sorry for yourself. Okay. And this is where, you know, I get a little like riled up, because been there, done that, bought the t-shirt and have the cup. Okay. You feel sorry for yourself and nothing happens. Okay. And so what you need, if you can't afford it, then go get another job to make yourself afford it. Like get a part-time job. Or if you can't afford it, then do something online that's free. Oh my God, there is so much stuff you can do. There's so many audiobooks you can buy. There's so many different ways that you can learn and educate yourself. And I don't mean educate yourself in history and science and all that other crap. I'm talking about learn something that makes you have self-worth. You know, if you're about flowers, for example, if you love flowers and you're all about gardening and stuff, but you don't know anything about it. Like, I don't know anything about gardening. Okay. And so like, but you love it and you want to learn about it. You can go and spend a little bit of time reading books, watching YouTube videos on that, and learning all this information. And you can educate yourself on that, and it can give you a sense of self-worth. And then whatever you decide to do with that from that point, because you're feeling confident, you know, you do.
Well, let me give you an example. You can offer it for people for free and they still do not take it up. So Anna, who, you know, I go live with every week doing the EFT, because that's her thing. She's currently running, she wants to do this course, but she has to test it first that it gets results. It's about a $600 worth, maybe even more. Okay. And she offered that for free. Now, there are a couple of people that have shown up, and I'm like, that just proves to me that people are not snapping her hand off, that wanted help, but they weren't actually following through.
But I do have to say one thing about that is I actually was interested, and I kind of like expressed that I was interested, and I never got any kind of links or anything to even know when she was doing it. So maybe
she put it, she said to people to, oh, where's Michelle gone? Michelle's gone. Well, we've lost Michelle. She's disappeared. Hopefully she'll be back in a minute. Poof. Oh, the computer died. So I just want to say about Anna's course. Like, she said to contact her in a group and show your interest, and she will be in touch, and she has done with a few people. But that was a classic example of, there was a free opportunity for you. And trust me, I've done work one-on-one with Anna, and I've had huge results, huge clearing. That just proves to me that some people, even when it's free, don't want it. There's something blocking them from actually getting change, and it can be self-sabotage. Astrology takes a lot of time. She has an emotional slapping course I'm in. Yeah, EFT maybe not appeal to everybody, but let's put it this way, if you're so desperate and you're so broke, like, you'll do anything, in my mind, to get help. And if somebody's offering me it for free and I can't afford it, I will snap their hand off, because that's rare that you get such an opportunity. But I feel that some people just don't really want change. They say they do, but they don't. And I've learned to now start cutting away from people like that just carry on moaning. I know we sort of sound like we're moaning, but I'm not. I'm trying to get it across. People that moan, that bitch, they don't do anything to change their life. She's not teaching astrology. No, she's teaching EFT. She's doing EFT on you to clear your blocks, to clear your fears, to clear your... She's worked on me with some deep childhood wounds. I don't know you're talking about teaching astrology. I've cleared some really deep childhood wounds that I could not have done on my own, because I would have done it by now. But some people don't want to help themselves, then want others. Yeah, but when you're offered it for free, somebody can't do it for you. They can offer you a free course, but you've got to show up. So to me, she's offering a 7-week course for free, like as a guinea pig, like, because all she wants is your feedback. I know there's a couple of people that watch us that have actually signed up for it. Because I would hunt somebody down if they were offering me that and I didn't have the money. But that just proves to me who really wants change and who doesn't. Oh, yes. Yeah, she did that energy thing I felt, which is powerful. Johan, do you mean Anna or Georgie? Because there's Georgie working with the angels and there's Anna with the EFT where you tap. Honestly, there's things I've cleared that if I could have cleared them, I would have done before now, and I've not been able to do it on my own. Really deep childhood wounds. I'm not saying I've got it all cleared yet. People charge thousands and thousands for this sort of course. I hope Michelle can get back on. It's a good job. You did the tapping, yeah. But she's offering one-on-one, like private, just you two. I don't know if she's still got it open now. She might have shut the door because she was quite surprised that people didn't even want a free course, you know. And I'm telling you now, she's really good and people are going to kick themselves. She's offering a 7-week course where you get at least an hour a week with her, if not more. But don't get me wrong, you'll get benefits and tapping with us live on the lives we do, but not to the depth that you'll get with her one-on-one. Yeah, Johan, you've really got to be like not doing it with driving. You've got to be sort of really focused. Oh my God, Michelle can't get back in. Why can't you get back in, Michelle? Have you got the Zoom number? What's going on? There's weird stuff going. Why can't you get back in? You got the number, Michelle? This is weird. 416. There's something going on weird tonight. Can't you get in on this number, Michelle? 416 704. Why can't you get back in? 838. I want to wait for slapping some sense into people. Can't you get in on that number, Michelle? Hi, Sylvia. Hi to everybody if I've not said hi to you. These energy vampires has really been done a lot. Some people don't know what energy vampires are, whereas I guess I take it for granted that people do. Hello, Amasim. What operating system in Windows took it touch you when you took it? if Windows talk to Katina, it takes like, it likes it when you talk to it seriously. Does it really? What was Michelle saying when she got booted off? That was weird. No, we're not just starting, Sylvia. We've been going 79 minutes. Why can't Michelle get back in on her own live? Maybe we should end it then. Let me invite you, Michelle. So you can't get back in? Like, we've been booted off once already. She was saying she tried to get a link from Anna. Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know who Holo Amasim is, but it's Michelle's Zoom. It's not even my account. I don't know. We've been going 80 minutes. I don't know if she wants to carry on. It's 2:37 in the morning here. Can't you get back on, Michelle? This has been a weird night. Can you get on? Yeah, can you get on your phone, Michelle? Try your mobile phone, Michelle. Trisha needs a drink. I've got a drink. We've been sort of on a rant, Sylvia. I'm the guest. Well, we're on Michelle's YouTube channel. This isn't my YouTube channel. So you're a guest on her Zoom and she's locked out, as in the whole account of Zoom, or just, I don't know, Holo, whoever you are, Holo. It's Michelle's Zoom and it's Michelle's YouTube and she's got kicked out. Michelle, that's the number that you need. Oh, I don't have any vodka. That's for my neighbour's bringing vodka for Christmas Day. Hi guys, can't talk to you so. Oh, okay, hello. Well, you know, we've been going 82 minutes and this is the second time we've started, so. Yeah, I've got a bone to pick with you, Michael Warner, some point. Can't you get back on, Michelle? Can't you get on your phone, Michelle? Well, I've sent her an invite. As a guest, you could send her a new invite link. Well, we've been going like an hour and a half. Probably it's time to like end it. How can someone not get back onto a Zoom? Can you not get on your phone, Michelle? Yeah. Don't really appreciate people going on live streams, spreading the news about my mother. Oh, don't use Google Hangouts. Okay, well, I'll end the live stream, Michelle. When I tell somebody something in private, I don't really appreciate being put on a public domain before I divulge it. That's, yeah. Drink a Coke and it kills everything. Okay, Michelle, well, I'll end the live stream and, yeah. Big thing to people, when you solve something in confidence, don't go putting it on a public domain. No, Johan, it won't be. I'm going to end the live stream. I don't know if I can end the live stream myself. I should be able to. Okay. Okay, Michelle. Well, I'll message you on WhatsApp. I'll end this. Yeah, some people just don't think when it's such a delicate situation, don't really want. And putting it on somebody's live stream that I don't even speak to anymore makes it even worse. And I've kept quiet about it, but you know what? Sometimes you have to speak up. If I ever tell somebody something in private, please don't put it public. Good night, God bless. Rex has had this happen to him. Happens to the best of people, doesn't it? So let's end the live stream. I'm going to end the meeting now. Good night, God bless everyone. And if you're free, I'm live on Facebook Tuesday night with Georgie. She's going to be doing angel readings and I'm going to be doing numerology. Probably going to have to use Zoom to get on Facebook though. And I'm going to be going live on Facebook a lot more. So you'll see me a bit on YouTube and a lot more on Facebook. Lots of love. And I will also say good night, God bless from Michelle as well, because she can't get back on. So good night, everyone. And